Hey there, and welcome. You ever have one of those great app ideas? You sketch it out on a napkin or something, and then you think, okay, but how does this become a real working piece of software? Well, that's exactly what we're going to demystify today.
And that's a great question, right? Because from the outside, it can totally feel like a magic trick. But today, we're pulling back the curtain. You're going to see it's less about waving a magic wand and way more about smart, really intentional design.
And to do that, we're going to dissect a perfect example, a command line to-do list app. See, by stripping away all the fancy graphics and buttons, we can get right to the good stuff, the core logic and the structure that are at the heart of, well, all software, whether it's huge or tiny.
All right, so first things first. Let's talk about the why. Why a to-do list of all things? Well, it all starts with a problem that I'm pretty sure every single one of us deals with, like every single day.
You know the feeling, that mental checklist that just never ends, the sticky notes that are basically taking over your monitor, that nagging feeling in the back of your head that you're forgetting something really important. Yeah, it's a totally universal problem.
And for a certain kind of person, a developer, a power user, anyone who basically lives in their command line, the perfect solution has got to be fast, clean, and totally distraction-free. We're talking about pure, unadulterated productivity coming straight from your keyboard.
Okay, enough talk. Let's get our hands dirty and take a quick tour of what this app can actually do. Think of this as the command center, where you, the user, are in the driver's seat.
So the most basic, and maybe the most important, function is just adding a task. It's super simple. You just type to-do app, add, and then your task in quotes. And that's it. Clean, simple, instant. Boom, it's in the system. Of course, once you've thrown a few tasks in there, you need to actually see what's on your plate, right? A simple to-do app list command pulls up everything for you. It's all neatly organized with a unique ID, the task title, and its current status. Super handy. But hey, plans change, don't they? That's where updating comes in. Using that unique task ID we just talked about, you can pinpoint a specific item and say, change its title. It gives you this really precise control over your whole list. And now for my favorite part, that super satisfying moment of checking something off the list. The complete command flips the status to done. And what if you complete something by mistake? Happens to the best of us. No problem at all. The incomplete command just flips it right back. So let's just zoom out for a second here. This table really sums it all up, doesn't it? Add, list, update, delete, complete, and incomplete. That's it. Just 6 simple commands give you total control. It's an incredibly focused and efficient little tool set. Okay, so we've seen what the app does. Now for the really fun part, how it all works. Let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine that's making this whole thing run. The secret sauce here is this design principle called clean architecture. Now, the easiest way to think about it is like a really well-organized kitchen. You wouldn't store your pots and pans in the same drawer as your spices, right? It's the same idea. This separation makes your code clean, sure, but way more importantly, it makes it future-proof. So if you decide to change one part later, like say how you store the data, you don't have to go back and rewire the entire application. So here's a look at how that kitchen is actually organized. The models folder, that's your pantry. It's where you keep all your raw data, the ingredients. Then you've got the services folder. Those are your recipes. This is the logic for how you combine and process all those ingredients. The CLI folder is the serving counter, where you interact with the user. And main.py, well, that's the head chef directing the entire operation and making sure everything comes together. All right, now this is where things get really exciting. I've walked you through how it works, but what if you could actually run this app on your own machine, like right now? Well, the great news is you absolutely can, and it's probably way easier than you think. It's literally just 3 simple steps. First, you clone the repository, which is just a fancy way of saying you're downloading the project's blueprints. Second, you set up a virtual environment. Think of this like setting up a clean, dedicated workshop just for this one project, so it doesn't mess with anything else. And third, you install the dependencies, which is basically gathering up all the necessary tools and parts you'll need. And just like that, you've done it. Seriously, you've gone from just watching this explainer to having a fully functional piece of software running on your very own machine. That is a huge and super powerful step to take. But hold on.
Getting it running on your machine doesn't have to be the end of the story. Not at all. A project like this isn't just some static, finished thing. It's a launchpad for something way bigger: collaboration. So let's say you get an idea for a cool new feature, or you find a bug you want to fix. You can actually contribute. The process is pretty much standard across the entire world of open source software. You fork the project to make your own personal copy, you create a new branch to work on your changes, you do your thing, and then you submit a pull request. That's just asking for your changes to be reviewed and hopefully added to the main project. And that is the real magic right there. This simple little to-do app becomes this shared space where people can learn from each other, build new things, and improve the project together. And this exact same process, just on a massive scale, is how incredible software like the Linux operating system or even the Python language itself gets built. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The principles we just explored in this tiny to-do app, things like clean architecture, separating your concerns, and collaborating in the open, these are the very same principles that power the biggest, most complex software projects in the entire world. So knowing that, there's really only one question left. What are you going to build next?